Rev up your engines. Pontiac Trans Am, this is an 01, the second to last year they made them. Now you can never trust anybody. It says Trans Am, so you figure, okay, that's real, but somebody could have put a body part on there. Go to the VIN. If the fifth VIN is a W, it's a Trans Am, and this is. Why'd they stop making them? Well, as we all know, GM and Chrysler went bankrupt. They had to do everything all over, and one of the losses was the Trans Am, just like Pontiac, you know? Pontiac faded away eventually. They're all GM cars, but with the money GM had been losing, and generally sports cars don't make that much profit, they decided they'd axe the Trans Am. Well, they actually axed the Camaro too, but then they brought the Camaro back. Now, they don't know, are they gonna bring it back again, or are they gonna make it electric? Who knows? But these things are collector's items, and this guy's smart. He kept it stock. He hasn't changed anything on it, which, if you wanna get your bang for your buck, leave it alone. Now you want to drive like an absolute lunatic and put a supercharger on it and all that stuff, that's your own business. But if you keep them stock, they generally keep their value longer. Now you might think, I'm never going to buy a fast car like this, the insurance would kill me. This guy's 31, obviously a good driver. Costs him $360 a year to insure this thing. A lot of people don't understand. As cars get older, a lot of times the insurance goes down. If you don't soup it up, give it more horsepower, get in wrecks, get tickets, they're actually not that expensive to insure whatsoever. And the guys with classic vets will pay the same kind of price. Only they have real classic cars, and they have some kind of stipulation like you can only drive 5,000 miles a year and stuff, but you can still get dirt cheap insurance as long as you're not running into things. You're getting speeding tickets all the time. Now as we look under the hood, that's why people buy these things. It's a reliable 5.7 liter engine. It's got plenty of horsepower, not horrendous gas mileage. If you drive slow, you drive fast, you're gonna get 3 miles a gallon, but you can get in the 20s on the highway if you just cruise along. He's been getting 22 miles a gallon driving around on the highway, so doesn't burn any oil. The only thing he's worried about is he is now the third owner. He bought it from the second owner, and since he doesn't know the true history, we're gonna put my fancy machine on and find out everything that's wrong with it. He did say it had a catalytic converter code. Typical as these age, Americans didn't make the greatest catalytic converters. A lot of them will go bad when they have over 100,000 miles like this. But this is Tennessee. They don't do emissions inspecting, so maybe it's something we don't have to worry about. They don't make them anymore. They stopped in 02, a year after that. All these parts are still readily available. Commonplace V8 engine, Delco AC systems. I mean, everything on these is GM. You can still get parts for it, no problems at all. Now, as we look inside, it is black. Black. Everything's black. I like it. And it's got the T-tops on it. The T-tops do come off, but it's too hot today, so we're gonna leave them alone and turn the air conditioning on. We'll close the door and listen to it. Still pretty solid. I heard the air whoosh. Starts right up, and as I said, you can hear it. Makes a nice little rumble, but he's left it all stock. Good thing. Not too noisy, not gonna have the neighbors screaming at him. Now it does have the service engine soon. In this case, that's a check engine light on. So he does have codes, and we're gonna check it out. And you can see it's got 100,357 miles on it. Now this is a 4-speed automatic transmission. The real speed freak guys want either the 5 or 6-speed manual transmission, but he's not racing this thing. He's driving it around. Trans Am sports car, so only small people need apply for the back seats. And we'll check out the trunk. Up we go, and yes, it is a hatchback. So you got a reasonable trunk space, but you put those seats down, you got a reasonable amount of room to put things in. For a sports car, it's a reasonable amount of room. And of course, it's got a killer stereo system. Now he wants to know a little bit more about what shape it's in since the 2 previous owners. So here comes the giant scan tool. Back in 01, GM had some pretty good software on these. And since it's getting so hot, we're gonna turn that AC back on. Go with diagnostics. Figured it out, so we'll do a standalone diagnosis. It already read the VIN number. We'll see if it read it correctly in a few seconds. 2001 Pontiac, formula convertible, 2-door hatchback, liftback, 4-speed automatic. It's a pretty basic topology scan. You know the modern ones, there's all kinds. This only has a few. Dash is still in excellent shape. People took care of this thing. There goes this little smelly thing. It's kind of blowing in my face. I didn't like the smell anyways. Kind of makes me sneeze. I might start sneezing. The seats are still in excellent shape. Probably no one ever sat in the back, so they're really in good shape. For a 23-year-old car, it's only got 2 trouble codes. Let's see what they are. PO135, heated oxygen sensor, bank 1, sensor 1. Okay, so that means the heater's probably not working right on it. And the other one is PO430, catalytic system, low efficiency, bank 2. Now, notice, the one that has a problem is bank 1, sensor 1, but the catalytic efficiency is for bank 2. You could replace the bank 1, sensor 1, and that would get rid of that code most of the time. Means there's a problem with probably the heater in the sensor. If it runs okay, you really don't have to worry about it in Tennessee. They don't do emission testing. But this car has 2 cats. Bank 1 cat and bank 2 cat. Bank 2 cat isn't working efficiently. Generally, the cat is starting to age, and like I say, Tennessee, they don't have emissions laws. Live data. That's the powertrain live data. So we'll go to powertrain. Black is good, red is bad. Okay, short-term fuel trim. Bank 1, bank 2, 1, 0, 2, pretty good. That's much off with 100,000 miles. That's not bad. And a long-term fuel trim, it's subtracting a little few, so you probably could run some fuel injection cleaner would help that. But you can see here, the short-term fuel trim on bank 1 is only 2. Here, the long-term bank 1 is 0, and the long-term average for bank 2 is 0. So the long-term is almost perfect. So I personally would leave it alone. He said he's having no running problems, and it's running perfectly fine now. We'll see what we do when he road tests it. But if your long-term fuel trim average is 0, it's running pretty good. If the catalytic converter was clogged up or something, it would mess it up like no tomorrow, and it isn't. So you can probably drive it this way for quite some time. This is not an emission state. If you were in a place where they did emissions testing, you'd have to fix the stupid thing. Tennessee, you don't have to. See, so far everything's black, it's good. So let's backtrack and we'll look at misfire data. Here's misfire data. We'll see if there's any misfires. Where do we got across the boards? 0, 0, 0. So let's go to transmission data. Torque converter efficiency still working okay. 1 is perfect. It's 0.9495. Everything's looking great, so let's take it for a spin. There we go, backing up. No backup camera. You gotta look on this thing. The transmission is shifting like a dream. You can barely feel it when it's shifting. This thing's in excellent shape. I don't hear wheel bearings. I don't hear any transmission noise. Now, you're always going to hear little rattles like that in a Trans Am. These are mass-produced cars, after all. They were GM in the 2000s, you know, and they're bankruptcy land type. And you're going to hear rattles and stuff as they age. That's just like getting an old Mustang, old Camaro. They're going to rattle. You'll hear rattles. It's not affecting the performance of it. You're not going to get silence in one of these things. Maybe that's why a lot of guys take the mufflers off. Then they don't hear any of it. And hear that turn signal clicking? It's got the old man turn signals. And here we go to the back of the road. And really, I don't see any difference in how this thing probably ran 23 years ago when it was new. Woo! People that don't know how to drive are there. Okay, here we go. We'll give it a little gas. Whee! Now you know why people drive these things. It's not just the noise. These things have a lot of power. They're fun to drive. That's why people buy them. And as this guy did, if you don't really know the history of the car, you're much better buying one of these, an automatic, because the guys who buy the standard trannies, the 5 or 6 speeds, they drag them, they burn them, and this is an entirely stock vehicle now. This thing is kept stock, and it's still in excellent shape. You get a much better deal getting a stock one than one that people have modified. I personally know guys who sell vehicles, and they refuse to buy and sell highly modified vehicles because they know, hey, if the engine blows up a week later, they're going to come back to them and be mad. If it's a stock car, you got a lot better chance of it being in excellent shape. So what do I think of it? Well, it's a great car. It's in great shape. The interesting thing is, okay, we're in Tennessee. He's in Tennessee. The car came from Wisconsin. And you think, oh my God, the Rust Belt, right? No, this baby did not even go out in the rain, I'm sure. In the winter, it had a big old 4-car setup where they just park them in the winter that did not see the Wisconsin salt and snow. The undercarriage is pristine too. You can find a lot of cars that people keep as their toy. They take care of them. They don't drive them in the winter if it's salty. I mean, my grandfather had a car in Buffalo, New York. He was a fireman. He wouldn't take it out if it was raining. He kept it in the garage in Buffalo. And he never took it out in the winter. He had a beater car for that. And in this case, this thing is in immaculate shape. To have 0 long-term fuel trim on both banks, sure, the catalytic converter on the right side is off a little, but it runs like a scalded ape. So, hey, you live in Houston, then you're going to have to fix that stuff. You can still get catalytic converters and oxygen sensors, not that big of a deal. But here, I just say leave it alone. And if it ever did actually clog up and start running poorly, but it's 0 long-term fuel trim on both sides, so that's showing the one that has the, in quotes, weak cap isn't affecting the running of the vehicle at all. So I'd leave it alone. Original paint job. Hey, they don't make them like they used to. Sad but true for GM. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.